Hi.
Hello.
Hi there. We just had a slight mishap. We're good though.
Oh,
What would a conference be without a slight mishap?
Yeah, I'm telling you. Let's see. Let me just check my list and make sure there's no one in the waiting room. Okay. Okay. How is everybody?
I'm good. How are you, Maggie?
I'm good. I'm a little stressed out. Ron Evans. Okay, here we go. You guys, I need to be excused for 1 second to pull up the slide deck. Hold on. All right, let me just, yep, okay. I just need to make sure I was all set up. Okay, so I see Sarabi is here.
yeah, it's Serby.
Serby?
Mhm.
Serby, hi. Sorry I mispronounced your name.
That's fine.
I imagine you get that a lot, don't you?
I do.
I did that the first time I met Serby.
Apologize.
Yeah, I did that the first time, and Serby was like, "I'm not gonna say anything."
And we've got Lindsay Rogers. I'm assuming, here's Alondra. I'm assuming Lindsay might be one of the note takers. Hi.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Hi, I'm Ron Evans. I'm one of the note takers, and Serby, I'll be note taking in your session. So I'm glad that I learned how to say your name properly.
And hi, everybody. I'm Verlonda Thompson, so I'm changing my name. And I am going to be in with Trina and with
Sam and Lauren.
okay.
Yeah,
Sam.
and Lauren is actually with us. Hey, Lauren, how you doing?
Hi there.
Let's see. Here's Orlando, Eric, and Chandra. Good. I need Chandra because I'm not sure of all the note takers. Orlando, how are you?
So Serby, is your last name pronounced Prasad?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
We're
Miss
also,
Lauren, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
Good.
That is an interesting background.
It's Wakanda.
Oh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, Lauren.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Lauren.
Hi.
We have Adisa Shaney. Is she
Yep.
one of the
Yes.
presenters? Okay, or she's a note taker?
Yes.
He. Why do I want Adisa to be she? Because I remember.
Maybe you're thinking of Mandisa or something.
No, what I am is tired. I was just telling Christine today, all the, our work, that me and Lauren's work basically is almost done, but it's everything leading up to it that can be pretty exhausting. So I'm just. Orlando, you guys all square?
Yes, we are. Good afternoon,
Good
everybody.
afternoon.
Alondra, I just emailed from Maggie's latest runner show. I segmented out our parts again. So I emailed that out to you so that we can follow along with that one.
Okay, let me find it.
Chandra, I've got Kevin. That's one of yours, right?
Yes.
And then I have Howell. Is that one of yours?
I don't know who Howell is.
I don't. Oh, Shay. She's one of the presenters.
Shay.
And say, Orlando, every time I look at your way, I just think about the loss. I'm like, oh.
So long ago.
Every time I see Yusuf's background and his house, I think about where I lived in West Village. Reminds me so much of that.
Yusuf in all his books,
Yeah.
putting us to shame.
I had a library, and one huge 11-foot high ceiling wall was just solid books.
All right, Kevin, I like the background.
Yeah, so I was gonna say good
Very
background.
Hey,
cool.
everybody.
Hey Shay, how are you?
I was just saying, Maggie, is that you with the purple hair?
It is.
That's
Yep, I went and did it. Thank you.
good for you.
How you doing, Shay? Long time no see.
Hey, I am great. What are you up to?
Stuff and things.
Uh-huh. Well,
Oh,
that means I want to talk to you one day and find out about stuff.
I'll connect with you, Shay.
Thank you.
So how's everybody feeling? Are you feeling ready?
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
Good. Today is going to be, I wanted to ask, I don't know if it's Lauren, if I ask you, or I'm not sure if Camille is here. What do we do? How do we jump around from breakout to breakout? Do we just ask Camille to send us to a certain breakout?
So basically what will happen is anyone who is a co-host will initially get signed to a breakout room. And after you go to that first room, you'll be able to move around as you want, like while the sessions are going.
How will we move around?
You'll be able to like there will be an option that becomes available for you to like select moving to a different breakout room.
Great. Thank you for that question, Maggie.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I've only seen here, join the room, and then I've seen your time is up, leave the room.
Okay, I will send over a link that breaks that part down.
Okay. Or I'll tell you what, Camille, don't assign me to a breakout, okay?
Okay.
Leave me out, and then I'll just talk to you about, about which ones I'd like to visit. Because I think, Chandra, you're going to visit all of them, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And I think Yusuf is going to visit all of them. I know Alondra in Orlando, you're going to be busy with Revolutionary Love Between the Generations.
Phyllis is asking to be let in.
Okay, oops. We got Madhavi, we got Phyllis, we got Donna. Here we go, Chase, and here's Yusuf. Jill Martin, is she one of yours?
Yep, that's the million group.
Afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Phyllis.
Hi, Phyllis.
Hey, baby. Baby. Oh, you having your dining early?
Yeah, because this go too long and I'm be starving by the end of it.
I know, I had to have a big piece of pizza yesterday. Chandra, I have someone that, XV Agency. Is that one of yours?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Okay, so we'll leave him or her in the waiting room. Hey,
Hi,
Tristan.
Donna Giggins Davidson.
Hey, Orlando. Hey,
Hey, Donna.
everybody.
Hey, Yusuf. So Yusuf, you and me and Chandra are going to be traveling in between the breakout sessions, okay?
Right.
Unless you want to just chill for the hour of the breakout sessions, or do you want to be assigned to one?
If I can chill for the hour, that'd be fine. I'm getting my cold, getting the best of me today.
Oh, whoa, that came on fast. You didn't seem like you were feeling bad yesterday.
You know, one of them things you was good yesterday, and then it's at the end. You know,
I just went through that. You might want to get you some elderberry syrup.
Okay.
Some vitamin.
No, Phyllis. Not any elderberry syrup. I've referred both you and Maggie. It's got to be the Gaia nighttime elderberry syrup.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
If you talk to Chandra about elderberry, you're going to get a lot of information about elderberry.
It works. Lemons, lemon, oranges, limes.
Hey, Madhavi. Holly, Shay, you look like you're drinking, what is that? Water with lemon in it? Yeah, there you go.
I thought you were still talking to me. I'm like, I look like I've been drinking. Never mind. Sorry.
So Yusef, is this something that normally happens to you, or are you concerned about your congestion? I'm sorry, I'm a COVID survivor, so I'm uber paranoid.
It was normal symptoms, but I went and took a test today just in case. So
Okay.
Ooh.
Mac on? No.
Not yet.
Hey, Lauren.
Oh, here's 5 more people. Here we go. Here's Mac. And here's Amna. And Chandra, I have Justine. Is she one of yours?
No.
Okay, so we'll leave her.
Hey, Mac.
Hi, Mac.
Hey guys. Yusuf, did you get my latest email?
no, I'm looking at it now.
All right, no.
So for those of you who were not with us yesterday, it was a pretty powerful conversation. And I know Orlando and Yusef and Alondra are going to be talking, you're going to talk a little about it, right?
Yeah.
Nicole. Oh, Nicole's one of the presenters. Chase, is that your house?
In my heart is my house.
I'd say it's really nice.
This is the McKinsey house at Wayne State.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I think I knew that from other Zoom calls we've been on. Yeah. Donna, have you seen the lights in front of my place and in front of my deck?
No, I haven't been back
Yeah,
there. So I
yeah,
have to
check
go
it
back
out.
there. Wow. You know what I've seen is these orange sticks all over our parking lots. And I'm trying to understand what they are. Do you know what those are?
No clue. No clue.
Are they like the reflectors, Donna? So people driving can see in the dark?
I don't know because I haven't been out in the dark, but they're just these sticks all over the place that begin and then when I was by Camille's yesterday, they're in front of her place too. So it's like, why are they in front of both of our places? I don't know if I'm being monitored, and I'm just looking.
Are they small, like orange?
Yes, skinny orange sticks just out the ground that are sort of.
Yeah, they're for snow removal. And so that's for when the snow plows come around. They have certain areas where they're anticipating there's water, water sprinkler things, or so that we got them all in our sub. They come around and put them in. Oh, hey, Lindsay.
Camille, you're good to go as the host.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then I've made everybody co-host that's going to need to move around the breakout rooms as well. But I have another question. Have we determined who's going to be recording the sessions in each breakout room? Because I need to make those individuals co-hosts as well.
Yeah, everybody's good.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Who's in our breakout room, Chandra?
Jill.
Okay. Hey, Jill.
Jill is at the bottom of my screen.
I see Jill.
Hello, I'm here.
All right, Jill.
Phyllis, I was Bible study last night.
I don't
Bible
see-
study was awesome. My spirit is renewed. I am happy, happy, happy. I'm telling you, it's one of the things that keeps me going, just to hear some encouraging words and to be around positive-minded folks. So.
And wise beyond their years. I was kind of blown away by that. Wow.
It was something.
Yeah, it was. Hi, Amna. I'm Maggie. Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. So I think, let's see. Lindsay, are all of is your whole crew here for your session?
Yep, we're all here. It's Amna, Serby, Dylan, and myself.
Okay, cool.
It looks like we're still looking for Maria for the new breakout, right? She's not on here yet.
Maria's
She's here.
Oh, there you are. Okay, see you, Maria. Okay.
Right there. So for the new breakout, we've got Maria, Donna, Madhavi, and then Alondra and Orlando. So we're good there.
I want to reinforce that Madhavi agreed to be there, but not be a panelist.
Thank you for that clarification, because I was gonna say, that's not what I remember.
Not be a what?
A panelist. She's going to be in the room. She's not a panelist.
Okay.
That's how I got her to agree, right, Madhavi?
Sneaky. That's how you asked me, and so I said yes.
So Chandra, I have Laprecia McPike.
Nope, all of my team are in here.
Okay, so everybody else will stay in the waiting room unless they're in one of the breakout sessions. So let's see, for justice and police behavior, we've got Eric, we've got Shay, we've got Des and Tristan, so we're good there. Policy and politics, we have Phyllis, we have Mac. I think we're waiting for Brian.
Is it Brian or Brandon?
It's not Brian and it's not Brandon. Oh, it's Brandon Snyder and Barry Blackwell.
Okay, don't start, because I have.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm like, who is Brian?
Barry's here. I'm here, everyone.
Hey, Barry.
Oh, hey, Barry.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, Nicole, I just saw you in the chat.
Trina Shanks is here.
That's my
Hey,
sister.
Nicole. And Trina. So I think for development in the neighborhoods, we've got Trina and Lauren and Chase. And is that your whole crew? Who else?
We're missing Sam.
Sam, is he here yet?
Sam is like the main one.
Yeah.
Sam is not here yet.
Just a heads up, Maggie, that Dylan has to leave for a little bit and then he'll be back. He'll be back around 4:30. If you could just plug him right into our whoever's managing, I don't know if it's Camille or who, but whoever's doing that, Dylan Cathro will come back into the.
Yep, I got it. And Ashley is coming in.
Lauren Hood, are you waiting on Sam Butler?
Yeah, Sam Butler.
Okay, I'm texting him.
Let's see. So let's see, for equity and property, we've got Nicole, we've got Ashley, we need Kim and Piers, right? I don't see them.
Councilwoman Lopez, she's coming at 5, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
Okay, and you're just gonna plug her into at that point?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, great.
Lauren, I'll ask you to keep an eye out for Councilwoman Castaneda Lopez.
Okay.
Around 5-ish.
Here's Sam.
Hey, messaging
Where's
work.
Sam?
Hey, Sam.
Hey, Sam.
Oh, there's Sam. Okay.
Hey,
Hey, Sam.
how is everyone?
We're good, Sam Butler. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Orlando.
What a crew. Oh my goodness. What an amazing group. All right, here's 12 more. Let's see who we've got. Oh, here's Pierre. Here's Brandon.
Snyder.
Oh, Jason is here again, Orlando, from Housing Resource Center.
Oh, that's great.
Trina, am I supposed to be admitting Sonia? Is she in your breakout session or can I keep her in the waiting room?
She's not on our panel, but she's part of our group. So I guess it depends how you want to do it, but she's not going to be speaking.
Okay, I'm going to let her in.
Hey, Trina.
I know she helped plan this one.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Brandon. Welcome aboard.
Good to see you again, Brandon. Twice in one day.
Hey, Trina, yes.
Hey, Trina.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, Brandon, how are you?
Hi, Ashley.
Hey,
And
hey.
Maria, everybody.
Cool kids.
Oh, hey, look.
Hey,
Hey,
Sonia.
Hey, Chandra. Nice to see you again.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Mary Ellen.
I
No.
know. I feel so connected to all of you over the last few days, you know?
Yeah.
So many common meetings, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Justine Juliana. That name is so.
Oh, yeah, good seeing you this summer. I'm running into you.
Jeff is here from Wayne State. June Kim is here from Lawrence Tech. Orletta. Anybody
Hey, yo,
know
this-
Lizzie D? Wonder who that is.
This will also be live on Facebook, guys, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no pressure.
It is 4:01. Do we want to go ahead and start?
Yeah, I think we're ready. Camille, are you ready to go live? We'll start when you go live.
Okay, I'm gonna open the waiting room and I'm connecting us to Facebook Live now.
All right, cool.
We'll mute. You want our videos on or off? On.
They can stay on. They can stay on.
Okay.
All right, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Come on in, everybody. Day 2, yes. Hey, y'all, welcome. We'll get started in a few minutes. Good to see everybody. Hey, y'all. Thanks for coming to day 2. Wow, I see Dr. Peter Hammer here. What's up, Dr. Hammer? Good to see you. Hey, y'all.
Good to see you, Orlando.
Welcome, welcome. Hey, and we are now welcoming our Facebook audience. Hello, Facebook. Welcome to day 2 of the Building the Engine of Community Development in Detroit Summit. It's our 5th annual summit. Go ahead and share. Make sure you like the page and follow the page if you aren't already. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes. Can everybody who's in the room on Zoom put your organization in the chat? Let us know where you're from. Let us know what set you repping, what side of town you from.
That representation on.
You say what?
That representation on.
That representation, yeah. I'm going to give preferential treatment to the East Side. I see
East Side
community. Come on, East Side.
No, man. West Side, the best side.
Let's do some Southwest, some Southwest.
I don't know why we are like this in Detroit. Oh my God. Call some of you guys out. Actually, we can go ahead and get started and then we'll do some roll call. I'll introduce myself and I'll allow our co-hosts, all of my co-hosts to introduce themselves. My name is Orlando Bailey. This is my 5th time hosting the Building the Engine of Community Development in Detroit Summit. I'm so happy to be back with you. I serve as the Director of Engagement for Bridge Detroit, a new journalism and engagement organization here in the city. I am also the Detroit host of Urban Consulate. It's a cross-city network of parlors where we convene people to have critical conversations about cities. And I'm the co-host and producer of the Authentically Detroit podcast. And if you don't know what that is, shame on you, but keyword search Authentically Detroit in Google and make sure you like and subscribe. And I want to make sure that we give Yusuf and Alondra an opportunity to introduce themselves. Yusuf over there, way on the west side. Way on the west side. Go ahead, man.
What up, though, good people? Good to be back with you the second day. My third time experiencing the Building Engine Summit. I am the Deputy Director of Strategy and Innovation at the Mission Roundtable, and also I serve as the Field Marshal for Community Movement Builders. Pass over to Alondra, our other great host.
Hi everyone, my name is Alondra. I'm from Southwest Detroit. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm representing Congress of Communities and 482 Forward. this is actually my first summit and I'm hosting, so that's cool. But yeah, I guess we can get.
Uh-oh. Your internet is going in and out. While we at it, I'll do a couple of shout outs while Alondra gets her internet together. I see Charlevoix Village Association in the house, Detroit Will Breathe, Congress of Communities, Maria Salinas. What up? Professor Eric DeWicki over in Morningside. What's up, Eric? Trina's here from U of M School of Social Work. Hey, y'all. Repping Rosedale Park. I'll give the West Side some love. Women Building Women Nonprofit in New York City. Wow, we got some folks here from New York City doing development differently in Metro Detroit. D4 is in the building. Hey, Sam. Ruth Johnson says she's a former East Sider. AFG is in the house. Hey, Alternatives for Girls. Lindsay from Congress of Communities is here. Detroit Justice Center. Hey, love the work that you all are doing. Nicole says she repping all the 313. She ain't repping the side. She ain't East Side, West Side, Southwest. She's all the 313. I love it. Councilwoman Mary Sheffield over in District 5, her office is being represented by Barry Blackwell. Happy to have you. Wayne State is here. 482 Forward is here. Community Development Advocates of Detroit. East Side Community Network. My Old Stumping Grounds, Detroit Action is here, DFC. All of y'all, everybody is here. Hey, y'all, O'Hare Park Community Association, Plowshares. Gary Anderson is here from Plowshares Theater Company. Hey, y'all, welcome. Dr. Hammer from Damon J. Keefe Center for Civil Rights. Chase Cantrell, building the engine of community value. Hey, Bridging Communities. That's Phyllis Edwards over on, the West Side. She retired from hosting because she's getting a little older. So we send our love to Phyllis.
I will send you words shortly, Orlando. Watch it. You gotta respect your elders, young man.
So thank y'all. Thank you. We'll do some more shout outs later, but I want to turn it back over to Alondra.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. My internet just decided to go out when I was talking. But am I better? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So yesterday we did mention that we were probably going to add a sixth session, and I wanted to announce that we are adding that sixth section, and it will be called Revolutionary Love Between the Generations. This will be a conversation facilitated by Orlando and myself, and it's just a conversation where we'll be talking about how, as young organizers and leaders, how we can work with our older, more experienced organizers and leaders in the community, and how we can just be more powerful when we all work together. If you do want to join that session, please put in the chat your name and that you want to join that session. If you're more comfortable with the session that you already chose, just know that that's okay. All these sessions will be recorded, so you can go back and watch this new session or any of the other sessions. And I will pass it back to Orlando.
Yeah, so if you want to join the session that Alondra and I are facilitating with Maria Salinas and Donna Givens Davidson, what a lineup, right? Just type your name in the chat and put session 6. So we want to take a little bit of time out to make sure that we do that. So if you want to have the conversation with Alondra and myself, Donna and Maria, just type your name and then put session 6 in the chat. We'll give you a few minutes to do that. Some of you have probably already pre-registered for other sessions. But if you want to make a last minute switch, you're able to do that in our Zoom God. Shout out to Camille Johnson, our Zoom goddess. She's going to see you in the chat, and she's going to make sure that you get to the right session. So the new session that we've added, it's called Revolutionary Love Between the Generations, facilitated by myself, Alondra, Maria Salinas, and Donna Givens Davidson. If you want to join that session, that breakout session, just put your name in the chat and type session 6. Session 6, if you want to join that session. We'll give you guys a few minutes. And while you're thinking about that, we want to take a few minutes to talk about major themes from yesterday's conversation and then look at today's agenda. So I'm going to ask those of you who want to attend that new session once again to go in the chat box right now and then put session 6. If you're having a hard time deciding, remember that it'll be recorded. And so I want to list the breakout groups that we have tonight, right? The first breakout group is entitled Mental Health in a Time of Virtual Learning. And that is being headed up by the 4824 Youth Organizing Collective. Shout out to the young people. Yes. The second session, Policy and Politics in the Neighborhoods. Bridging Communities, Inc. and Villages CDC, Detroit Action, the Office of Council Members Raquel Castaneda Lopez and Mary Sheffield will be facilitating that session. I want to give a note to Lauren Boone and Maggie that the closed captionings aren't working, and we want to make sure that we get those closed captionings up. The third session is Development in the Neighborhoods. And this will be convened by the Equitable Development Table, U of M, Deep Dive Detroit LLC, Building Community Value, and Doing Development Differently in Metro Detroit. That's session number 3. Session number 4, Justice and Police Behavior in the Neighborhoods. And that's going to be facilitated by the Detroit Justice Center, Coalition for Police Transparency and Accountability, Detroit Will Breathe, and AllPac. So that's going to be a good one. Session 5, Equity and Property in the Neighborhoods. And that's going to be facilitated by Detroit Future City Center for Equity, Engagement, and Research. And the new one, backed by popular demand from yesterday's conversation, Revolutionary Love Between the Generations, facilitated by myself and Alondra, Donna Gibbons Davis, and Anne Maria Salinas. All right, Yusuf, my punt to you, my brother.
Man, awesome to be here again. Building the Engine is about connecting to the everyday people. It's helping us to understand the landscape of Detroit, particularly centering the voices of those who are in the neighborhoods. This has been a process, and any process, there's patience, there's endurance, there's struggles, and there's challenges. And sometimes in the work that we do, it is so severe and so crucial that we go to bed thinking about it. We wake up thinking about it. And how do we continue to impact? And that's the question we always ask: have we done enough? Have we talked to this person? And I think this what this process is about. When you look at the population of people that we have here, and it's been continuing to add on and on and on, and we need to add more and more to be able to achieve what we want to achieve ultimately, about building and establishing great neighborhoods. And that's what the focal point of what is the possibility of a new Detroit, a new us, is about, and being able to centralize that through this conversation of hearing from those who are at the center of it, as well as those who are contributing towards what a new Detroit will look like, starting from the neighborhoods.
So some of the big themes and takeaways from yesterday, we heard from an amazing panel of young people doing amazing work, and we heard one of the best quotes yesterday came from the kid while it said,
you read my mind. I was like, he got to say that quote.
Don't participate in your own erasure, right? Talking about organizing and talking about ego and organizing. Another major thing that came out of yesterday was this intergenerational discourse and collaboration that needs to happen across the ages, right? You got young organizers and you got older organizers, and there was this, sort of back and forth yesterday about being on the wrong or right side of history and making sure that there is room for a common goal with different tactics. I heard that yesterday. So if somebody's tactic differs from yours, but you all have the common goal, is there room for respect, and is there room for collaboration? Another major theme that came out of yesterday was this, trauma-informed community development. How do we make room for trauma to show up in our processes and our projects, in our meetings, what have you? It's not something that we want to ignore, and it's not something that we want to plan around, but there is an entire trauma-based approach to how we do this work, and who needs to be in those rooms that aren't traditionally in those rooms, right? Let's bring those folks in. Another major thing that came out of yesterday, especially in light of COVID, really essentially uncovering so many inequities in the city, including the big technological gap that we experience in our city. And so since we've only really been able to connect via tech, that gap has been glaring, right? And Iasia she did an amazing job facilitating and talking about that tech gap. And then we talked about, what's possible in Detroit in light of all that we've experienced this year, and in light of all of what's going to take place next year with the election. And so those were some of the big takeaways that we had from yesterday. I'm going to ask Maggie to bring up the agenda for today, and Alondra's going to go through the agenda.
Okay, so today's agenda, we started with opening remarks from our host, and then we're going to go into our breakout sessions. And Orlando kind of mentioned who would be leading those. And then from 5:15 to 5:30, we'll take a break. And then we'll come back after those 15 minutes to just report out what we heard in the conversations. And then from 6:30 to 7, we'll have closing remarks. And then at 7, we will end this, and everybody will go on with their days to hopefully do more organizing and great work. So yeah, that's our agenda for today.
Yeah, so if you haven't registered for a session, no worries. Just put the session number that you want to be in. Put the session number that you want to go to, and we will make sure that we get you to those sessions. And if there isn't a demand for the new session, we will gladly absolve that session as well. So go ahead and put those numbers, those session numbers in the chat box. Our Zoom goddess, Camille, will make sure that we get you to the right sessions. And so it's 4:15, so we're going to go ahead and do the breakout. Please exercise patience while we do this. This is going to take a little bit of a second while we organize everyone into the breakout room. If you find yourself in the main room, let us know where you want to go and we'll get you there. But please allow us a couple of minutes to scatter you all. We'll see you back here at 5:15.
Well, it seems that we have a little situation, guys. Not a big one. It's just going to take a little bit more time. So please be patient. I'm sorting everybody. It seems that Zoom didn't port your emails the way that they were supposed to. So just give us a few seconds. Think of like some Jeopardy waiting music, and I'm going to get everybody in your respective rooms.
Hey, Orlando, I wonder if we could hear from some folks who were here yesterday about what their takeaways were while we're waiting. Oops, Orlando?
I'll take it. So anybody,
Okay, thanks.
so anybody that's still here that was a participant yesterday, was there anything that stood out to you? Would you like to share? Phyllis, I'm gonna call on you. I mean, you said some good stuff. I mean, particularly around that conversation of intergenerational. I mean, and so as an elder who was listening, right? And sometimes when we listen, the old saying, you throw a rock out in the woods and somebody yell, but it wasn't necessary for you, and you responded very graciously, right? And to connect those dots. Can you talk about that just real briefly?
Sure, not a problem. I was trying to let someone else since I'll be talking shortly. But my thought around the conversation yesterday was that every generation leaves its footprint on this work. It continues to go on. I had a conversation with some young folks earlier and they said, well, they don't see any change. And I had to explain to them that there has been quite a bit of change in the work towards social justice in this country. For my generation, it was marching so that it was not white only water fountains, or that you could travel from the north to the south without having to pull over to the side of the road to use the bathroom. You can actually now stop in restaurants along the way. You didn't have to fear for your life like we did back when I was younger, driving up and down the highway, going from Detroit to Memphis. You know, we had to pack our own food and you didn't stop along the highway or go to restaurants. That's where the chicken in the bag came from with the pound cake, right? Because that's what we had to, that's the food that lasts the longest, along with bologna sandwiches when you drove that distance. And so, you know, I think it's important that generations share the accomplishments that was accomplished during that generation, because now this generation has an opportunity to leave an even bigger footprint in this movement. And I think that that's where the intergenerational piece comes from, is sharing, understanding, and understanding where we were, where we are, and where we need to go.
Thank you for that, Phyllis. And she had the dopest background, man.
Oh
Like,
yeah, she really did, but I understood where she was coming from because I'm from Tennessee. So when she said cooking the chicken and we didn't stop nowhere, at that time when you were a little girl, you didn't know what your parents was doing, but they was keeping you from because all that racism down there.
Right.
So
and it wasn't just down there, it was here as well. And
yeah.
so, you know, we have to be careful that people always think that a lot of the racism existed in the South. But in the South, the difference was it was clear. North was more covert, you know, in terms of the operations of those injustices, with things like redlining, and we weren't really, you know, some of the things that were not so obvious. But, you know, in the South, it was clear that where Blacks were and where whites stood, and, you know, the boundaries that were there. But like I said, a lot of those boundaries have been eliminated as a result of the work that my generation did in the March on Washington, Women's March, the Millions Women's March, Martin Luther King. I mean, all of those things. And so we can't discard what has happened because, you know, we have it, like I said, we had young people talking to me that said nothing has changed, but they need to understand that a lot has changed.
Yes.
You know, from black and white TVs to color TVs that stay on all night when TVs used to go off. And some of us remember that, right? But, you know, we have to remember that this work has been it's a long distance run. It's not a sprint. And every generation, as I said before, will leave its footprint.
And I think it's important to make the connections between each generation, each place, each movement as part of a larger whole. So I do remember the Miracle Whip jar going down to Mississippi, but I made the connection that there aren't bathroom facilities at the current State Fair Transit Center. So when there's not bathroom facilities, what does that mean in this country, this state, this city, whether you're traveling down south or you're just traveling by bus?
Great point. Great stuff. Anybody else would like to share?
Yusuf, I was really struck yesterday by a point that Nakia made to the question about what can people from outside the city do?
Yeah, that was a good question.
Nakia really drew, she took us all the way back to the 60s, which was what was so amazing to hear from a young person about how, you know, the term outside agitator was used in the 60s to discredit the civil rights movement, and drew the connection back to what was happening here in Detroit with the Detroit Will Breathe protests and the other protests. That was, and that led to a whole discussion about the concept of people who don't live in the city, and is there a role and what is the role?
That's a great point. And just to illustrate that, some of us may forget, we see Black Lives Matter all over, plastered everywhere, but actually Black Lives Matter also followed that same format going into Ferguson. It was a national call, and people all around the country was going there behind Mike Brown. Those was the seed to what we see today as a national organization began to sprout up in different other cities, because as Phyllis pointed out, you know, racism had no boundaries. It existed everywhere then, and it's still today. And so creating models of organizing. I think also that's another point in particular, when we cross over to other areas, we're integrating different models, we're integrating different concepts, and we're no longer just islands by ourselves.
And one of the other points I think that came out of that, Yusuf, was that, as Nakia was speaking, is that, you know, that's another way to divide us as we do this work, right? Saying outside agitators or people from the outside, when a lot of times during the conversation yesterday, we found out that a lot of people who live in the city don't really live in the city. So are they outsiders? But this work has never been accomplished. The accomplishments have never been, a lot of the accomplishments that has happened in this struggle was because we had like-minded people who wanted to assist in the struggle for various reasons, whether it was financial, marching with us, or writing letters, or whatever it took to move us along the spectrum. And so it's always been folks who had an understanding of the issue within that struggle that came to assist in the struggle.
Oh. Yeah, anybody else would like to share anything?
Yeah, I think that in situations like this, we should always ask ourselves who benefits from what narrative. And I think that what Detroit was able to do was to avoid dealing with the content of the protest by focusing on who was at the table and who was engaged in the protest. And I also feel as though there was a deliberate attempt to tap into longstanding resentment and mistrust. And I think that we should always push back on people trying to manipulate us in that way. And so when I hear police officials talking about First Amendment rights of some folks, I always remember the fact that the First Amendment rights of others were denied based on this manufactured crisis and this manufactured, fact that outsiders are coming in and trying to control us.
Yeah, so recently I had an opportunity to participate in something, and the narrative was folks is going to burn down the city. And I was like, that was Hollywood Craig narrative. That's Duggan narrative. and people didn't realize, like, the folks that was leading or engaging that conversation was like, we need to create our own narrative. And not to say, well, in those moments, there's a plethora of different people. We don't necessarily know the motives, but we know the motives of those who create narratives, and particularly when we're talking about organizing and protest, and especially now when you hear Hollywood Craig, calling people communists and Marxists and whatnot. I mean, those are old white strategy tactics to isolate organizers, isolate people who are on the front lines, and it's really calling them the lynch mob, particularly on people, and that's very dangerous. Because we know to be identified as a communist in this country is basically called like an antichrist and whatnot.
Yeah, I struggle. So I was born in Detroit 60 years ago, and I struggle with the whole thing. And yeah, I went from poverty to privilege, and I built my privilege, and I'm proud of it. But I never left Detroit. And even though I have a house in the suburbs, I have a house in Detroit. And so I struggle with us trying to figure out, I don't want to be labeled. I don't want, and I don't think that, it's fair to label people if they make choices. But yet, if like for myself, I never left Detroit. I've been a community organizer in Detroit for 40 years. And so I think we need to create and come together and figure out what works for now, for this era. Yes, we have experiences and we have history that, but we can't get stuck. Because I think for me, and this is my experience and my perception, I feel that's going to keep us down. We have to figure out what works for this era right now, and our young people, and choices that people have made for whatever reason. I just feel we'll be more powerful if we create this movement to be practical and effective for now, for this era. And what does that mean?
I just want to stick on that. I think Maria just brought up a great point, particular about labels, and I think we all have experienced that. And I also think that goes into Donna's point: labels, narratives, As soon as you do good, are you too good, for everybody else, or, you got a car, you done moved up. I mean, whatever the case may be, but you still haven't knocked on somebody's door. You still haven't talked to someone, right? To really get to know that person, what's really going on. And particularly when we talk about oppressed people and we take on the characteristics of others where it leads to more division and more importantly, more trauma. I know for myself, I fight it every day and it's very hurtful, particularly when you have a heart for this, right? And we lead with our hearts, and your heart is always the first thing that get punched, and you got to go home and try to repair yourself. So I think that that label is, and we do it, and also we do it to ourselves. She thinks she better they, and how do we move from that and create a space to be very transparent and open with each other?
You set? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, just wanted to announce that if you all are noticing, there's less and less of us. So unfortunately, there's been a little bit of a technical glitch in terms of the breakout sessions. So people are being placed in manually. So we're going to continue with this wonderful conversation. And then you'll just see less and less people until we actually have everybody in the breakout room. But know that it's being handled as quickly as possible, and all will be well, and additional time will be added once we have everybody inside the session. So again, we now have this fabulous bonus session, and we'll just continue having great conversation together until we're into our smaller groups. So thank you for everybody's patience and flexibility.
Yeah, I just want to add, Chandra is not saying that we're going to go past 7. What we're going to do is build some time into the existing schedule. So the last half hour will, we may skip the break if that's okay, and then we may allow the breakout sessions and the follow-up to extend into the last half hour that was scheduled for a wrap-up. Hi, Orlando.
And if I could suggest that since the focus is getting everybody into the breakout rooms, we'll simply send a message in terms of when the end time will be, because we want to keep those who are working to make the movement happen. We want them to stay focused, but as soon as everybody's in their room, we'll let them know when their actual end time will be.
So Orlando and Yusuf and Alondra, one thought occurred to me is that while we wait, we can have each one of the breakout session leaders give us a little bit of a sense of what they're going to be talking about.
Sounds dope. Who do we have present right now that's going to be doing some breakout? Trina. So would you like to share with us? Did she go? Did she get
gone? She's ghosted.
or she got put into a breakout group. How about, let's see, I'm looking at some of the other folks. How about Dr. Shay Howell or Tristan? Is Tristan here talking about the justice and police behavior in the neighborhoods?
Or Shay, you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. We're going to focus on on 2 things really: the excessive use of force by the Detroit police in killing, particularly Black men and women and children in the city, and secondly, the outrageous behavior of the Detroit police with regard to protesters or activists, and this most recent effort to actually sue activists and have the city pay for it. I should add, we're going to show the video that the coalition produced around the Hakeem Little killing. And it's a very difficult video to watch, but I think very important.
Awesome. Is anybody else with us, Maggie?
Let's see, what about Dylan or Lindsay, or I'm trying to see the other 2 young people. Dylan or Lindsay, can you tell us about your session?
Sure, yeah, the youth are already in the breakout room, but they're not supposed to start yet, right? Because I'm getting okay. I'll text them and let them know. Yeah, so this is the youth organizing, this is 482's youth organizing group. And so Surbi Prasad and Amna Kalila are going to be presenting about the Police Free Schools campaign and how that ties to mental health, and even kind of how that ties in now with virtual learning and the traumas and losses that youth have experienced over the past year. And so that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. And we are going to play a fun game as well. So that's session number 1.
Okay. Let me see who else is in the room. It looks like there are a lot of people who are presenting that are now being placed in their breakout rooms. And we just sent word to the facilitators that we'll assume that the breakout sessions can go until 6 o'clock. And I'm trying to see who else can we ask to talk about their session. Is Phyllis already in her room?
I think so.
All right, is Mac already in the room? So policy and politics, it looks like they're already in their room. Maria, do you want to talk at all about what your session is going to look like? The revolutionary love between generations?
Yeah, yesterday we really, some topics came up and we're very kind of in the front line of, we need to kind of talk about this a little bit to see and learn from mainly the young people on, how do we come together as, young people, millennials. So if I'm saying right now, if you're 30 years old, you're old, because right now the movement and the revolution is 14 to 25. And so, like millennials are like old. And so you can imagine if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, and where do we all fit together? Where do we come together to be more powerful? Because a lot of baby boomers and elders, there's melders, there's all these acronyms and labels that we're all being put into. But the really young people, we really need to learn. We really need to learn what their perspective is, because there's a different opinion of the young people. And I'm not talking about the millennials, the young, I think it's Generation X or Y, I'm not really sure. But what is it that we could do to start aligning, to start building something powerful? Because there's compliments from every generation that could get this organizing more effective. Instead of being apart and them thinking a certain way about, baby boomers or even millennials, it's how do we come together? But we need to learn from the young people on what they're thinking, because it just sounded like they think we sold out. I think a lot of the elders sold out, for jobs, and maybe some did, and if that's the case, then we need to kind of pull that out and start defunking that and diffusing that, so that we can figure out how do we come together in the next 2 to 5 years to be more powerful. Because there is elders have relationships and resources, and the young people have the fire in their gut and energy, and the middle people, how can we do something different? And so it's effective for our residents of Detroit. So that's kind of what it's about.
Thank you, Maria. And I know Orlando and Alondra are going to facilitate, and 2 of our amazing experienced leaders, Maria Salinas and Donna Givens, are going to be in the room with Orlando and Alondra, and really talking that through. So it'll be an informal conversation. So that's what that session is about. And then let's see, there's a session on development in the neighborhoods. And I'm pretty sure that those folks have already been placed in their room. I see the numbers going down. But that session, Chase Cantrell, Sam Butler, Lauren Hood, and Trina from U of M have been working together on an equitable development scorecard. They've looked at a model from Minneapolis and other cities, and they're going to be talking through what they've come up with and asking for a conversation and feedback about that. And then, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anybody here from Detroit Future City or the Center for Equity and Engagement. I don't think so. So that breakout session is really going to be taking a look at what's going on with the vacant land and the empty buildings in the city. How are they being used? And what's the relationship between economic and racial equity and property ownership? So that's what that session is going to be about. And let's see, policy and politics is the last one. And I'm trying to see, I don't think, oh, those folks must already have been placed in their breakout session. So that's going to be facilitated by Phyllis and Mac Farr. And Brandon Snyder from Detroit Action is going to be in the room, as well as Barry Blackwell from Council President Pro Tem Mary Sheffield's office. And then later on, we'll be joined by Council Member Raquel Castaneda Lopez. And they will be talking about different policy changes that have been made as a result of the pandemic, and what are the implications as we come out of that, and what other policies do we need to focus on, and what are the implications for the upcoming mayoral and city council election. So that's a rundown of those workshops. And let's see. We have 20, we're down to 26 people, so we're almost all placed in our rooms.
That's good.
Yeah. Appreciate everyone's patience and flexibility. We're still going to have time to do this, but I guess Chandra tells me that this is not unusual for Zoom, right, Chandra?
I've been in many conferences and summits, and going to breakout rooms is often a challenge.
Yeah. So we're down, we started with over 100 participants and we're down to the last 25. So we're making progress.
Yes.
I'm sure Camille is tearing her hair out there, but I know she's working hard to get everyone placed in their room. Lauren, anything to tell us from the chat, or Youssef, do you want to add anything?
Oh man, sorry, still getting over this cold. I think it's just the opportunity to have folks come together, and then just think about like now, and with COVID, to be creative. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think we all in our own individual lives, COVID, despite how hard it has been, the ability to just to like rethink. Like we talk about reimagine, we talk about being creative, and this what this opportunity is. To be creative, to touch in, to tap in, to use tools that has been unfamiliar with us, or has made us feel uncomfortable, but to allow us to connect with each other. And so I think this is what this moment is about. And I think this is what can continue to energize us in this work that we want to achieve.
Yeah, just wanted to make note in terms of if there's anybody who still is questioning what breakout they're going to be in. If you haven't already said so in the chat, you can indicate that in the chat now, or we'll just by default place you into the new Revolutionary Love breakout session.
Yeah, they need to get me in there because they're texting
right.
me. Like, thanks.
Hi,
Maggie,
this is Carmen.
You're muted.
Oh.
Go ahead, Carmen.
Hi, this is Carmen Wells Quigg. I'd like to be in the equitable development breakout session, please. I think I got put into a couple of other ones, so if you could put me in that one, that'd be great.
So I'm currently doing two things right now. The first is placing everybody, but then an additional kink that Zoom has is sometimes when people are placed, it doesn't activate, which is what has happened to Maria. And then Carmen, I have to move you, but at first it showed you as stuck. So I'm trying to move you to another room so I can get you where you belong.
No problem. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And thank you for your hard work, Camille. Like I said, there's things that Zoom does no matter how much expertise, time, experience you had. So again, we appreciate that technology also gives us opportunities to pause and to be creative.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Pat Dockery, and I'm in the equitable development, but I haven't been placed there yet.
Yep, everybody's in process. So good to see you, Dr. Pat.
Hey, Pat. Oh, she's gone.
Yep, just like that.
Hey, Linda.
Hopefully any second now, Maria, it's your turn. And Maggie, if you're talking to us, you're muted.
Yep, I am. Thank you. I was just telling Shay that Shay needs to be placed in the justice and police behavior. I'm gonna bet that Camille probably already tried to.
I actually just sent her there. So let's see if it works.
So we're down to Maria and Shay and Lindsay, and I think that's it.
Okay, Maria, I'm gonna try to move you. Can you accept that? And then I'll move you back to the right room.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Look at Yusuf's puppies. Those are puppies.
Wow.
And Women Building Women wants to go into session 4.
Okay, I just moved them.
And as soon as everyone's in, obviously Maggie and I would like to be able to move around, because I know that various things are happening in the breakouts and people are texting me saying, okay, what about? It's like, well, the person will be there any second.
Yeah. So we're almost done.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know why. I'm trying to move Lindsay and Maria to like so many rooms. Are any notifications popping up for you guys?
No.
No, I'm not getting any. And
Okay.
I know my internet's been a little funky, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Sometimes Zoom is just funky with these breakout rooms. You guys might have to log out and then log back in, and it should work. That usually does.
All right, let me do that now.
Okay.
All right.
And then we need to place Wanda as well somewhere. Hi, Wanda, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Hi, everyone. Sorry for the delay.
Oh,
You
that,
can just
hey,
put me anywhere.
we're experiencing Zoom quirks, so
Okay.
no worries.
All right.
Okay, I just put Wanda in.
I'm back. I'm back as Adriana. I got to change that. That's my alias. She's a lot younger and prettier than I am.
Come back to you, Camille.
Okay, cool. Let's see if this works. And I'm about to move you as well, Maria.
And unfortunately, it looks like in the session with Trina that there's an issue with the record. And as a co-host, she's saying she's not able to have somebody else record since she's having a problem recording. So I know that's not the priority, but if you could pop into that room and see if we can set somebody else up to record.
Okay, yeah, let me hop in there.
Looks like we're down to, and I'm sorry, Women Building Women. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Karen Gamba.
Hi, Karen.
So I think you have the same issue that Lindsay and Maria had. Can you log out and log back in, and then I'll put you in room 4.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, and then I'll jump into Trina's room and see.
Okay, Maria made it into group 6, so that's good. Now I guess we just got to solve the recording problem with Trina.
Yeah, I have to see if like jumping in there will give me control over participants again, because once I throw them into rooms, I can't like, I don't have all the functions over them. Okay.
Karen's back.
And she's gone. All right.
Yep.
And so now I'm gonna assign you guys to rooms. And
well, before you do that, Camille, I just wanted to So it's 10 minutes to 5. Lauren asked me to estimate when the workshop should end, and I said 6. So that we can use the 30-minute wrap-up session and the 15-minute break as kind of flex time. So, oh, good. Is that Yusef?
Yeah.
So Yusef, if it's okay, we're gonna let the breakout sessions go until 6. And then basically skip the break and kind of combine the plenary discussion after the breakouts with the wrap up for the last hour. Is that okay? Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I will see you guys soon.
Oh.
Let's go to
Hi, Yusuf.
Hi. I don't know if I'm in the right place or not. Does anyone know?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm
You're in, so when you say in the right place in terms of for a breakout or just in general?
I guess for a break, I'm Councilmember Castaneda Lopez, and I was supposed to jump on and present at 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
Ooh,
so,
wait.
huh?
No, it's typing what I say, which is cool. I've never seen that before. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm like, what's
that's
that
fine.
feature? Okay.
No. So yeah, so right now, what I'm Yusuf Shakur. I'm one of the hosts.
Uh-huh.
And so basically, I mean, putting people individually. So when to come back, they'll put you in, get you where you need to go.
Okay, cool. So I just hang. Do I have time to like run to the bathroom?
Yeah. You got time.
Okay, I'll be back.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, sorry, can I get assigned to a room? I just came in late.
Yes, give us a minute. So we've been individually assigned. Oh, you might have got pulled.
Season. Okay, it's not quite the full season, but 72 games is still a lot. So I gotta shoot that down immediately. Rick was far more on point. Although the only thing I question with Rick is he said this is definitely LeBron's best team to start the season. Okay, because one of those Miami teams might argue with that. But let me go to the other teams. I do think the Lakers are the heavy favorite. They should be the favorites. But it's not going to be easy because everybody is sleeping on your Clippers, Marcel.
Yusuf.
You doing homework, honey?
Doing a little reading.
You doing a little knowledge there, sugar?
Yeah.
How you be?
I be fine. How you be?
I'll be fine. We still here, baby. That's the key.
Yes, it is. Yes, fighting a little cold.
Yeah, that's all right. You knock that out. Knock it out. Knock it out.
Yes, I am.
Okay, baby. What you on the panel for? A little knowledge for the people, or what's going on?
Oh, I'm one of the hosts. Or
Are you one of the hosts?
yeah, we got 3 MCs, so I'm one of the MCs.
Okay, sweet of you. Listen, well, y'all talking about, because I'm in my 60s as well. I'm 66, and I ain't ashamed to say it. And history in our community right quick. And I got on late, but I picked you up. So I'm gonna say what I have to say if I don't get in one of them sessions right quick.
Yeah,
And I'm fighting a battle down here. I'm fighting a battle down here. My organization is CVA, Charlevoix Village Association, and my name is Toya, in which you know Blair.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And I done met you a couple of times.
Okay.
Okay. Well, what I'm fighting down here is gentrification with the developers, and people are still being neglected as a homeowner. The few that
Oh, she got snatched up.
Wake up. You think I saw you, did you? Hey, what's going on? You all right? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm all right. Just
Good,
fighting the cold.
Listen, who do you saw? Who I need to talk to? For some reason, when I registered when I registered for the which I come every year, they had it set up where you had to register for each day separate.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I didn't register for the second day, so I'm gonna make sure I get both my gift cards. Who do I talk to?
Maggie or Lauren.
Okay. I'll send Lauren something in the chat.
Yep, that's it. No,
That wasn't very clear.
Okay, yep. Maggie or Lauren.
Okay. All right. So I thought when the folks coming back from the breakout?
It went over a little bit. So I believe about 6.
Okay. Okay. Well, are you putting people in breakouts?
No.
So no. I just got to sit here and look at you?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, not that I don't want to look at you. But I was in that when I came on. Maybe I should try to sign. You think I should try to sign back in and maybe I'll get in a breakout session?
Yeah, I know some people have been having troubles doing that. So yeah, that might work, but since you have to sit there and look at my handsome face all the time.
Right. I just don't know if I can take all this handsomeness. Yes. Oh boy. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to sit up here anyway.
Yeah, why don't you try that and see what that do?
Okay. All right. See you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
We'll try to come back.
The pick and roll, 33%. So the numbers are just the numbers there, right? Now, with this with Paul George, organizationally, clearly, the Clippers as a whole, at least in some part, felt that Doc Rivers had blame in what happened last season because he's the one they got rid of. So that's how you know that they held him accountable. But also sometimes the coach is the easiest one to change. I think sometimes conversations like this happen when there's too much time in an off season. I'm not sure how this managed to happen in a short off season, but the bottom line for Paul George or anyone else on that Clippers team is that they have to be accountable this coming season. And I think the only thing that they have in their advantage on that score is if the expectations were very high going into last season. Richard, you said you picked them, right, to win a title. I don't think those expectations are that high this season, right? I mean, you guys aren't picking them as your favorite to win the title, so they could only beat them, right?
Well, they should. The expectations should be high. The only reason why the expectations have dropped is because of their performance, right? Like that's the key thing. It's not that somebody's injured or they lost a ton of people in free agency or they lost some. No, it's because we saw their performance or lack thereof, and so everyone's expectations have now dropped. But they are still one of the top 2 or 3 teams. If you tell me this year, with the roster that they have, if they play great, that the Clippers can win the championship, I would not be surprised. I would be like, yo, yeah, they have all the pieces there necessary to win a championship. It's just a matter of whether or not players play up to their capability. And it wasn't just Paul George. Kawhi Leonard was at fault at a lot of this too. He had a god-awful second half and a god-awful fourth quarter. So we can't just focus in on Paul George. It was the pairing of the two.
And you know what's crazy is that some of my old coaches like Doc Rivers and Sam Cassell, some of my older brothers, my family from the Celtics, even Ty Lue and Rex, Coach Rex, and say, Herc, you got the Lakers to winning the championship. That's how you feel? And I was like, yeah. But one of my many reasons is I didn't trust Paul George, and not in the crucial moments. From his history.
Well, it's me again.
You back?
The host has opened breakout rooms. Okay, they saying for me to wait to be assigned. So let's see what happens.
Hi, everybody. I see everyone starting to flow back in. I think a few groups are just finishing up their conversation, so we're going to give them about 2 minutes, and then we'll be ready to move on to discussing all of the things that we talked about in our sessions.
What up? I see Savannah Brewer in the audience. What up, Savannah Brewer? What up, though? Seeing some good people. Hey, Miss Pat Dockery. Hey. Kenyatta Campbell is in the building. Hey, y'all. Shout out to Kenyatta Campbell, Cody Rouge in the house.
What up, though?
What up, though? I saw you all on Facebook today with your consultation. You go, girl.
Shouting out like we at a real party, for real, for real.
Hey, you know, that's how we do. You know what I'm saying? We want people to have a good time. I
Hey,
see.
Hey, Kenyatta.
Huh?
Y'all saying, hey, Kenyatta?
Hey, right. Hey, Auntie.
How are you?
All right.
Killmonger from Black Panther. We see the new executive director of MAC Development, Antoine Jackson, in the building. What's up, man? Hey there. Oh, man. Good to see y'all. Come on in. Come on back in.
Hey, Orlando, I've been jumping around to the different breakout discussions. Some really, really dynamic conversation.
Yeah, I would say so. I was in one room and it was really powerful.
Yep.
Can't wait to hear about it. So hopefully everybody has their designated reporter outers.
Yeah, I think my sense of it is that the facilitators believe that they're doing the reports out.
Okay, great.
But yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yep.
Camille, we'll wait for you to give us the cue to go ahead and get started once everyone is sort of back.
Okay, I'm looking out and it looks like everyone is back here. Let me just check real quick. Yeah, I think everybody is back in the main room.
All right, Alondra, take it away.
Okay, so we wanted to have a conversation where everyone could just highlight what they heard, comments that were made, or what was talked about within your breakout session. Are we going in a specific order, Orlando, or are we just gonna have
So everybody had session numbers. We had session 1, session 2, session 3. So session 1 through 6, and so we can call them out. But what we want to do is first thank everybody, especially the amazing group of organizations that put on these breakout sessions. We know that it took a lot of prep work to do it. So shout out to 482 Forward, Youth Organizing Collective, Bridging Communities, Inc., the Villages CDC, Office of Council President Pro Tem Mary Sheffield and Council Member Lopez, Detroit Action, U of M, D4, Deep Dive, Detroit, Building Community Value, Detroit Justice Center, Detroit Will Breathe, Detroit Future City, ALPAC, the Coalition for Police Transparency and Accountability, Congress of Communities, ECN and CDAT, all of you did the work to make those discussions as dynamic as they were. We want to thank you. So this is what we're going to do. After we hear report out from each group, we're going to spend some time talking through exactly what we heard. And then in real time, Camille, because she is the Zoom goddess, is going to create a snap poll to help us organize some of the big themes that are coming out of what we are talking about. And I'll ask you all, so make sure that you have your unmute button handy or the chat function ready to go around some of the big themes that you heard in the report outs. So each group has 3 minutes to report out. Don't try me. Don't try me. You got 3 minutes. and we'll get into the larger group discussion. So let's start with group session number 1. What was session number 1?
Mental health during virtual learning.
Let's do it.
Great. So we started off with talking about what 482 Forward is. For those who don't know, 482 Forward is a citywide education organizing network that is based in Detroit. We just talked about what 482 Forward does, how we organize, what platform we use while organizing, which is invest in my health and safety. Invest in my health and safety is referring to investing in our youth and investing in our youth's health and safety in school, in their community, in their neighborhoods. We went over what components of the platform was, such as the things that we do. So like one thing was cops over counselors. We created that to make sure that we're putting, counselors over cops, sorry.
I was about to say, I was like, what?
But we're gonna make sure that we put our counselors, our mental health of our students over funding police in our schools so that we can make sure that our students are getting the best environment and learning that they can. So based off referring to the best environment that they can during school, we based our discussion mostly on how we would reimagine our schools, how we would reimagine mental health in our schools, what we can do to make sure that our students are getting the best education that they can get. And I'll leave it to Amna to talk more about that.
Oh yeah, so definitely. So basically what we talked about was just what investing in schools and investing in the students with the students as a best interest looks like to the students, to the teachers, and to the parents. So what we did was create a Jamboard. And see if you could pull that up.
I can't because someone else is sharing, but I can drop the link and anyone can look at it.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So Lindsay will drop the link to the Jamboard that we created, just asking ourselves what a fully funded school that is focused on the students and in the best interest of the students and teachers looks like to us. Fixing problems whereas students don't have enough supplies compared to when a teacher needs to take money out of their own pay to buy student supplies. So it's just, we talked about a lot of common issues like that in schools, and I think it was really collaborative, really productive. Yeah, that's basically what we went over.
Thank you. Thank you for that report out. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
We're going to go to session number 2, policy and politics in the neighborhoods. Who's reporting out from there? Is that Phyllis Edwards?
Of course it is. No,
you
know what? And I neglected to do that little to get that done for someone to report out. But we had a great session. I do believe we had Councilwoman Lopez join us, and we had Barry from President Pro Temp, Councilman Pro Temp office, Sheffield office to join us as well as Brandon Snyder from the Detroit Action. And we started out talking about how policies influence communities. One such policy, as I mentioned, was the Social Security. People don't think about that a lot anymore until you reach Social Security age. But when that was invented, that of course it was built on injustice, as it didn't allow for agricultural domestic workers to receive those benefits. So initially from the onset, that was a policy built with inequalities in it. And it wasn't until 1948 and 1950s, respectively, that domestic workers and agricultural workers were able to start receiving those benefits. So as we look at the policies that have come out now as a result of COVID-19, especially those that prior to COVID-19, according to our own mayor, water, for instance, was not a public health issue, and our own mayor said that people stopping the water shutoffs would promote people to not pay their bills. And so now that it is a national health crisis and they've made allowances for people to have water, how does this impact us moving forward? And so with that, Councilwoman Lopez and Barry shared with us, the Detroiters Bill of Rights that's being implemented into the charter. And that bill is people's rights to be free from discriminations, right to water, right to safety, right to health, right to environmental health, right to recreation, right to access and have access and mobility, and the right to the basic needs and quality of life. And so getting involved in that effort, and what it took all the advocacy groups that came together, because we're more powerful together than we are separate. And so this is a real true demonstration of that, as all those advocate groups came together to help structure and build this Detroit Bill of Rights that will hopefully be the key to some of the issues that people are afraid of coming out of COVID-19 as the moratoriums and the restrictions become lifted. We certainly have people and families and children and vulnerable seniors who are involved and really concerned about their quality of life. But hopefully this bill will be implemented. It's of course, bills take a while. Not until August of next year, but working towards that is certainly one of the efforts. And we shared a lot of information around how you can get involved with board and commissions. And Councilwoman Lopez also shared the PowerPoint and all of the other data that goes along with the Bill of Rights. And so it was a very fruitful conversation, very touching and productive.
Thank you. Thank you, Phyllis. We appreciate it. A lot of great points there. Session number 3, development in the neighborhoods. Who is?
That's me. I'll try to summarize our rich conversation.
Okay,
So,
Trina.
So we had a great panel. We had Lauren Hood, Chase Cantrell, and Sam Butler. And we just started out talking about what is equitable development. And we said it's a combination of an inclusive process as well as outcomes. And Lauren went a bit further and said that she only thinks equitable development is reparations, where the people who've been harmed in the past are the ones who benefit in the future, or in the current, or in the development that's happening. We talked a little bit about the inequities in having market forces determine the value of development, because sometimes it costs more in construction and in labor than the building or the development is worth. And so unless there is some government subsidy or government building the houses like it exists in other countries and other places, it's really hard to actually get some of the things that communities might want, because the capital has to come from somewhere. And it's really a deficit of capital, which makes some projects much more difficult to do. We also talked about this idea of an equity scorecard, somewhat based on what is happening in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And their 5 categories are equitable community engagement, equitable land use, equitable economic development, equitable housing, and equitable transportation. And we had a lot of debate back and forth about if having a scorecard and having a score is really what's important, or having people have the power and have their voices to be heard so that the things they want actually is built into some of these developments. We talked about a lot of other things, but I think I'll stop there, except for one of the things we thought might be useful if we have a scorecard or principles for Detroit equitable development, having a different AMI than the regional AMI, making sure it's 50% or less, so Detroiters with the revenues and the income they have can actually afford it. Having a way to retain current residents so they aren't displaced. And this idea of maybe also having money go in some sort of a fund that will be of use to local residents, and maybe also for things like home repair, so that people aren't forced out of their communities. So I think I'll stop there, but this conversation is not ending. We welcome anyone who's interested in these conversations to continue engaging, because it's gonna be an issue that is gonna continue to be there for years to come.
Thank you, Trina. Love it. Next up is justice and police behavior in the neighborhoods. I'm sure this one was a popular one. Who's reporting out?
I can.
Hey,
yeah, hey, how's it going, Orlando? Yeah, our segment was part of a presentation with the Detroit Justice Center and the Coalition for Police Transparency and Accountability and ALPAC, Detroit Will Breathe. We had a one could call sobering and difficult yet open discussion that was grounded in us watching a video that was presented by the Coalition for Police Transparency and Accountability of the police shooting and death of Hakeem Littleton in the neighborhood. And from there, asked the question, what does it mean to create policing and safety for communities, and what are our thoughts about that? And it brought up questions that range from the ways in which Black and brown bodies are criminalized, including young Black and brown bodies, like children, and how children aren't seen as children. We talked about the ways in which the question of policing is tied to not only systemic racism, but in particular, the policing of Black bodies where they can and can't go. And so in ways, maintaining the racism and segregation that exists in society, and just talked about like what it means to, put resources into communities that actually keep folks safe, and what it means to listen to those communities when they say what resources they need in order to do that. So certainly it was a conversation that needs to continue, and really more about people kind of sharing and expressing their concerns, knowing that the issue of safety is a real thing, but thinking of how to reimagine that without the punitive practices and policies of the police department and the carceral state. So that was it.
Wow, sounds robust. Thank you for sharing, Tristan. We appreciate it.
For sure.
Equity and property in the neighborhood, session 5. Who's reporting out? Is that Kim or Nicole?
Hi, I'll be reporting out for our group, and I don't know how I follow Mr. Taylor's report out. Was great, and I can't wait to see the recording for it. So my name is Nicole Brown, and I am with Detroit Future City, and I, along with my colleagues, Pierre Davis, Kimberly Faison, and Ashley Williams-Clark, led the discussion on equity and property in the neighborhoods. And so we were fortunate to be able to have a conversation that was even a bit of a broader discussion, and really also talk about land use and acquisition and transparency in that process. And so the conversation centered around really centered around 3 different programs, and really looking at how Detroit Future City, as a innovative think and do tank and stewards of the Detroit strategic framework, are able to utilize the programs that we're working with to work with community partners to be able to help them forward their work within these areas. And so our colleagues talked about really talked about how do you navigate the land ownership and purchase process to be able to equitably utilize open space with the Eastbury Warren pilot program that was led by my colleague Pierre Davis, which really lifted up the importance of working with and building capacity of neighborhood organizations to be able to navigate lots of city systems, to be able to actually access that land and be able to make it into an active space within the community that is led and shepherded by community members. And then we focused on what does it really mean to have a housing market that is strong, and looking at how can we work with community development organizations to be able to creatively implement an an acquisition and rehab program that, when it is complete, working with a robust set of community partners from local CDOs, the CDFIs, and the city of Detroit, to be able to ensure that at the end of the pilot program, there are 70 new homeowners of affordable housing in Detroit neighborhoods. And then we rounded out our conversation, led by Ashley Williams-Clark, around what does it really mean to have an economically equitable city of Detroit. And so really looking at the definition that was created and led by community members, which I do want to share with all of you all. And so our definition for that is a city where all Detroiters are meeting their unique needs, prospering and fully and fairly participating in all aspects of community within a thriving city and region. And so we were able to have a really robust conversation with our community stakeholders on the call, and really pulling apart what are some of the barriers, but what are some of the opportunities that they're seeing to move this kind of work forward. And one of the big things that came out of was, one, the importance of being able to navigate relationships within the community and all the stakeholders that you need to be able to move this work forward, but also really looking at how are we building up the capacity of our community organizations and our Black clubs, who are really on the front lines of fighting this fight, and being able to make sure that they have the resources to be able to take control of land and homes in their community, and really be able to transform those spaces into places for all Detroiters to be able to live and thrive equitably. Did I get in my 3 minutes?
You did, and you did just fine following Tristan Taylor. He's a hard act to follow, so good job. I want to punt to, thank you, Nicole. I want to punt to Maria Salinas from Congress of Communities to talk about the conversation that happened in session 6, Revolutionary Love Between the Generations.
So yeah, it was a robust, great conversation. I want to thank Orlando, Alondra, Donna Givens, and myself, that we kind of led a conversation in regards to intergenerational work and how do we get better in this era right now to create something, you know, that will, a mechanism or whatever we want to call it, that will be practical and effective for the now. Understanding that there's been a lot of things that were done in the 60s and 70s, but how do we really let young people and elders come together, you know, naturally and effectively, and build a mechanism, you know, that will be for the now, for what's happening now. Communication was huge, alignment for this movement, narrative, you know, how do we make sure that, you know, our young people, and we're talking, you know, like we're talking 14 to 25, and then millennials and all the in-betweens, 40, 50, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, how do we utilize each other to build power? And our main thing is, you know, as the young people, the younger people that are in the movement with Black Lives Matter and everything that's happening on our streets, and they're out there 200 days, you know, how do we create a visibility, you know, that there is an understanding that they have people that have their backs, that are working on ordinances and policies and laws that complement what they're doing. I think a lot of times they feel alone out there. And we want to make sure that, you know, they know that they're not alone. And like I said, you know, it's the young people, and we got to respect them and create space. You know, we learned about using verbiage like, you know, enlighten versus educate, you know, awareness versus educate. You know, when we talked about let's educate our people, it makes it seem like they're not educated. And our Detroiters are the most smartest people in the world, as far as I'm concerned. We talked about really just trying to figure out how do we do something different so that young people create the space for their voice and their value to be in the front lines of what we're creating, but also respecting and understanding that there's older people that have, you know, resources and relationships. So something came out also like, we help fund this movement. You know, if we have those relationships, you know, how do we, without taking it over? We don't want it, you know, I mean, we want to be part of it. We want to, even if we're not there, we want to be there in some sense, and create an aura or presence without imposing. And we need to build that. Currently, you know, CDAD will be taking on Building the Engine as our backbone, and they are creating a youth council that's going to start hopefully structuring and creating this mechanism. But I think it's like never before. It's just, you know, let's not do something that's been done. Let's do something that needs to happen now, so that we got the backs, that everybody that are 50, 60, 40, 70 have the backs of our young people in this movement, and that we can be more effective and more powerful that way. So I want to thank everybody for that, you know, the conversation.
Thank you, Maria. I'm going to punt to Yusuf.
What up, though, good people? Man, there was a lot of good stuff that was said. Immediately that jumps out to me, thinking about equity and what does that center, how do we center that? And for me, I think for all of us, is like, we're thinking about our mothers, our grandparents, people, as Maria just mentioned, like who we don't necessarily consider as educated or in the in crowd, right? But because of their equity in the neighborhoods, right? It means something. It counts for something. And so because of our privilege, because of our access to help create better policies, influence what development looks like. And when we do these things, it excludes police. Police doesn't need to be in there. They don't need to be in our community. But when we don't have equity, that's when we have police. When we don't have development, that's when we have police. When we don't have the things that we need, that's when the police come and other things. And so through this conversation, being able to centralize and connecting ourselves and understand that every voice in our neighborhood is valuable. But the central thing is our neighborhoods. And so to talk about our neighborhoods, also to challenge ourselves, in particular in our Black communities and how it influence people throughout the region, we have to move from how we see our neighborhoods. We can't continue to see them as hoods. We can't continue to see them as hoods and taking pride in hood, because that is a oppressed community. We have to call it what it is. And we say as a neighborhood, that means we're going back to invest in the people there. Despite what's going on, we're going to build, we're going to be the anchors. And if you moved out, that doesn't make you a bad person. If you don't want to live no more there, that doesn't make you a bad person. What makes you a bad person? If you don't want to connect and help somebody, that's what makes you a bad person. Because that you moved out and where you don't see the reality, like this is where we come from. And I think each and every one of us, if we go back and look at our history of our family, there was some house that our families all migrated to, that they all lived in until we was able to move on. And this is what the neighborhoods is. We got to get back to that old school of doing, and this is what we're trying to facilitate and foster. And I think what these conversations are. They're not an end all. They're just a continuation of things that you all have been doing in our different sectors. We're connecting the dots. So this will make this powerful, but it becomes more powerful by continuing to act and continue to do and continue to pull things together.
Man, and that's why we got Yusuf Shakura as one of the hosts, man. Way to drop the mic. So what we want to do is give you all an opportunity to sort of, right, Asandi, what we want to do is give you an opportunity in the chat function to sort of just say, a sentence or two about what your biggest takeaway was. What we want to do is create a poll from what we've heard in the 6 report outs, and what you are putting in the chat based on the session that you were in and based on the report outs that you heard. 1 or 2 words in the chat on what's glaring for you, what's your big takeaway, what's priority for you. And we'll try to capture some of that. Camille is creating a snap poll in real time. We would try to prioritize some of the issues that were touched upon today and put them on the agenda for a close looking at for next year. So go ahead in the chat box. Okay, it's coming in. So Camille, I'm going to name some of this stuff out, and then you can sort of figure out, do your goddess thing with the Zoom snap poll. Equity provides safety, not police. Priority for me is to figure out ways to support building community and connection that addresses people's needs. Supporting Detroit Public School students now. Reparations is greater than development. We need to locate our battles at the policy level. Yesterday's conversation centered on a new way of doing community. Yusuf just mentioned going back to what works. I believe there is a happy medium. Change our language, change our thoughts, change our actions, create change. Communicating and listening. Reimagining what expertise is. I like that. Okay, I gotta figure out, it's moving so quickly. Reimagining what expertise is and who are the experts in community development. Tristan says public housing, stop relying on the market to provide affordable housing. Reimagine what we mean by safety and police. Be vocal advocates and pathways for each other to be fully heard. Love it. I'm gonna get a few more in here. Helping people work together. The Detroit Bill of Rights focuses on basic needs, equity and policy, education and training, and the creation of inclusive policies designed to ensure equity is at the center for all aspects of community building, education, housing, and land use. Emphasizing student and youth voices. Yes, advocating for their voice to be heard and showing that youth voice matters. And I'll even take it a step further, making sure that their voice and ideas are implemented and resourcing their voice. Creating spaces that truly welcome and foster community engagement. Love it. And squash the digital divide across the city of Detroit. All right, so with what we've heard, and you guys can keep them coming. I think I did a good job of trying to get to everybody that posted something in the chat. We want to sort of, take this snap poll. I don't know where we are with it. Camille, how you doing with the poll?
I'm doing good. I'm working my magic, distilling all of these great thoughts as well as the feedback that we had earlier into some nice points. And so what I'm going to ask everybody to do is rank your top 3 issues or takeaways that you have from today. So right now, I think I have 8. I'm going to look through the chat and see if I should try to create one more. Yeah, one more second.
All right, so give them that prompt one more time, Camille.
So the prompt is going to ask you to select your top 3 kind of takeaways or the top 3 issues that you're prioritizing based on everything you heard today, everything you learned today, the feedback that you heard from the groups that reported out, the conversation that we had earlier in the day as we were preparing for the breakout rooms, and of course the feedback that we received from all of our hosts.
All right.
One more second, because I think there's one more that we need.
This is real-time tech. I love it. I'm loving this, y'all. Y'all are, man, this is great. Okay. And so what's going to happen is a poll is going to appear in your Zoom function, and we're going to ask you to take the poll, and it's going to be appearing in just a couple of minutes. And then we have a few more. Here we go. A few more in the comments. Black and brown bodies and communities need to be invested in, not punitive institutions like prisons and police. Alignment between generations. That's from Maria Salinas. The previous comment was by Tristan Taylor. Loretta says, how we still have so many people who cares about building up our neighborhoods and helping the young people what they would like to see happen, helping the young people see what they would like to see happen. I love it. I love it. This is great feedback, guys. I would say we're ready for the poll. So let's do it.
I'm about to launch. Oh no, what happened? Oh. 1 second. Technology is not my friend.
It's okay. Your mom, Donna Givens, is saying we need to work harder to engage and listen to everyone in our communities, to hear them and understand their perspectives. I couldn't agree more, Donna Givens Davidson. I couldn't agree more. And I don't know if y'all know that, Donna Givens Davidson is also going to be a lecturer at Columbia University next semester. I don't know, just in case y'all didn't know, we got a Columbia University lecturer on the Zoom call.
Hey, Orlando or Camille, do I need to stop the share to make room for the poll?
I would say so, I would say so, just to be on the safe side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Acknowledge barriers of access exist for others that we may have no comprehension of. Stephen Boyle. Yeah. Donna is the whip. Oh man. We need to honor the wisdom of seniors that exist within our communities. Coming from the president of the Senior Citizens Club over on the West Side, that's Phyllis Edwards.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Look, you young whippersnapper. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, Lord. No, so
I'm gonna do you like they used to do us back in the days. Children should be seen and not heard. Now,
Hey, Cantrell is telling me I'm so wrong, but he don't
Oh,
know.
she
This
didn't say that.
Oh, she didn't.
What'd you say,
five
Maria?
Go there.
years, 5 years
We're
ago.
trying to dismantle that. We gotta hear them.
I know. I'm just talking to Orlando.
Oh
Eric
no,
DeWicky-
that
Eric
was
DeWicky said-
Did you not hear what he said to me?
that was oh no,
Yeah, Orlando, be
that was
nice.
classic.
No, I love me. This is something me and Phyllis does all the time. Eric DeWicky just say he's in Phyllis's club too. Yeah, Eric DeWicky's known me since I was 7 years old. I would say so. I got all the jokes. Everybody today. I love it.
Orlando, man, he's not from the West Side. That's what it is.
I ain't scared. Yeah, that's right. I'm from the East Side. We have no fear. No
Don't
fear.
worry about yourself. He didn't have a big mama.
Oh.
You had a big mama. You know better.
Camille, before I get myself in any more trouble, is this poll ready to go?
The poll is ready, but it's not showing up. I don't know what to do.
All right, so maybe we can figure out a wraparound poll, Maggie, if we can't get it to show up in the chat right now. Oh, here we go. I see it.
You see it?
Yep.
Cool.
So question number 1, what are the top 3 issues you would prioritize after today? So you could pick 3 and we can see the results in real time. Can I just give a nod and a salute to Camille Johnson for making this happen in real time? That's so dope. So dope. Great ear.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Everybody voted on question 1?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. All right. There are 77 people in the chat. Right now, we only have 55 people who have completed the question. Go ahead and pick your top 3. We're going to try to get full representation. Give you a couple more seconds. We got 60 people, 77 of us here, guys. So mark your top 3.
It's getting late.
I know we're coming. We're moving. All right. Question number 2.
There was only one question.
Oh, one question.
Yeah.
That was it. All right. Cool.
So I can end the poll now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we see the result? Ooh, there we go. Mm-hmm.
All right. So the results are from the top 3 issues that we prioritize, 60% of people are prioritizing creating and sustaining equity and inclusion in community development. Wow. 58% of attendees said that they are prioritizing supporting and empowering youth. And the one underneath that, 48% are prioritizing partnership, movement, and coalition building. Right underneath there, right behind the top 3, we have policy advocacy at 37%. We have communicating and listening at 27%. Community-focused placemaking, community-driven safety at 29%, community-focused placemaking at 23%, and enlightenment and awareness building at 11%. All right, y'all. Y'all did good. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all are
So
amazing.
I'm wondering if there's ways to incorporate some of those things. For example, could we incorporate community safety, driven safety into some of those other, like the coalition building work and the youth
That's
leadership
it's
work? 'Cause
open for discussion. Come on, guys. What do you guys think of Donna's suggestion? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Donna.
I just hate to leave that on the table because safety is one of the big issues in our community. And I really love the concept around rethinking what public safety looks like. And we keep on not really having those conversations.
Mm. I appreciate that perspective. Is there an opportunity, Donna or anybody else, do you see an opportunity to collapse any of these priorities into one? Donna,
Can we
just
see them back up?
Yep.
So we'll know what they are for sure.
This is Ruth. As a point, and I'm not mad at anybody or upset, but policy advocacy is a strategy. Communicating and listening is part of anything we do. I don't see it as separate, you know, when we talk about prioritizing and maybe lifting up and make sure we're doing it. But I think there's some overlap for me on, in order to have equitable and inclusive community development sector, we need to listen. We need advocacy. We need to build power. So it's hard for me to see these as separate.
Mm.
I think the emphasis is separate though, because we have tended to have policy and advocacy and supporting our youth without really having real focused and attentional efforts at communicating and listening. We don't have town halls where we're really going into the places where people who don't show up at meetings are. You know, we're not in, I think that Brandon Snyder does a good job through Detroit Action of really communicating with homeless people, for example, or returning citizens, or people who are, you know, on the verge of homelessness. So we hear from a subset of our community, and then we consider that to be the listening that we need to do. I don't think that we go far enough.
I want to add real quick, salute Donna for bringing this up. And truth be told, all this is a both and, not an either or. And all these should be added to, I mean, when we say enlightenment and awareness building, if it probably said education or educated, it probably would have got more. But because we're challenging radically to rethink and reimagine, it got less. So we're doing a disservice to ourselves by the framework that we have and getting to this conversation, because all of them matter. So the real work is connecting them, and we can have, you know, subtopics, and the topics, and they can be pushed in for the objective.
Well said.
I want to just highlight a couple of things in the chat while we're having this discussion. I think it's great, and we have time. We had a little bit of time for this discussion, listening to our younger people as well. They are primary users. This is a great point of public spaces. How often are their voices included in all of the constant new development and plans? That's Whitley Granberry. Thank you for that. Stephen Boyle says, I think communicating and listening is where internet access fits in these. Agree with getting people that aren't heard a path to be heard. There's too much to be labeled inclusive, and the inclusion is always narrowed by what outreach has been done. Izzy says, yeah, I see a lot of possible overlap with these tools for these two. For instance, in the youth breakout session I just attended, we discussed DPS students' push to reallocate funds going towards the Detroit Public School Police Department to go towards school counselors and other student resources instead, in the interest of, you know, DPS student safety. Let me pause here and get a sense of what everybody is feeling in terms of, all right, so if we collapse some of these and put them into one and, you know, sort of prioritize, what is there, is there a strategy to sort of tackle all of these at once, right? And sort of walk and chew gum? Because I hear Yusuf saying, both and. And when we look at all of this now, it seems pretty big. It seems like it's a lot on the plate for us to sort of explore and tackle. What are your thoughts toward, chipping away at a lot of this as a sector, as the community development sector? Anybody?
So yeah, I think one thing that we really want to be true to youth voice, that there's whatever we come up as our 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 that we're going to present to building the engine and see that everything's done with youth voice. So we add youth voice to every spectrum of work that is done under building the engine that's going to go to CDAD.
I think we need to identify areas of hot points or areas where we're going to be involved. So if it's housing, then with housing, we need to create and sustain equity and inclusion as part of it. We need to support and empower youth in discussing housing. We need a policy advocacy framework. We need to communicate and listen. We need partnership, movement, and coalition building. We need to do all of these things in some way to ensure that we're doing the right thing. If we're talking about police reform or changing the nature of policing, whatever language we want to use as an inclusive language, I think, again, we need to do things. I think we need to listen and empower youth. I think we need to create and sustain equity and inclusion. So I don't know that these are strategies and tactics to get there. And I think that what we need to figure out is what we're going to focus on. So, I care about housing. What we haven't talked about is sustainability or climate equity. And, that's kind of where I live. And so I think that we also need to put climate equity on the table. But
anybody want to speak to that or have a response to that? So sort of, Donna, if I'm hearing you, you're saying all of these are tenets that could be applied to different areas of work and advocacy or activism. So we're talking about housing. All of these tenets need to go into our housing strategy. If we're talking about police reform, if we're talking about climate equity, if we're talking about youth development or workforce and jobs and economy. Okay. Anybody else before we
Orlando, it's Madhavi. Can I add something?
Yes.
I think I just want to make sure that no one sort of leaves this meeting thinking this is like the one chance to add something to this like list of things, that this is really like a forever and ongoing conversation. So I know we're trying to sort of prioritize some things here, but I want to make sure that we're in agreement that this is not the results of like this poll or whatever decisions we're making right now aren't sort of long lasting. This isn't like the time we have to decide everything. These are like ongoing conversations, but it's good to start the conversation here. That's all. I just want to say that there's not pressure to like figure it all out right now in this moment.
Thank you for that, Madhavi. Thank you for that. All right, with 10 minutes left, we gotta, wrap it up. So what we want to do, I want to punt to Alondra.
I just wanted to, Lindsay made a comment in the chat that I just wanted to make sure that everyone heard because a lot of people agreed with it. Lindsay said, I think youth are often consulted on youth issues, but why isn't land use or housing youth issues? And a lot of people agreed with that. So I just wanted to bring that up in case anybody missed it. But since we're ending the conversation, I just want to remind you all that all of the sessions, the breakout sessions were recorded. So if you all want to go back and listen to them again or go and hear a different breakout session you were able to go to, we will be posting those soon. But please stay connected by following following or adding Building the Engine on Facebook. And also check out the website. I think those are going to be dropped in the chat if I'm not mistaken. And we will be publishing a list of everyone who participated on our website. And yeah, I'll pass it back to Orlando.
All right, thank you, Alondra. So we'll also be preparing, publishing a resource list that our breakout group leaders help to complete with information, tools, and research that they've done that you will find useful. Everybody sent in a list of resources that they weren't able to share within the breakout groups. And so we're going to publish that. We'll also be preparing a summary of the key points and action steps that came out of this summit by January and linking that to the website and Facebook page. So as my trusted co-host Alondra said, stay in touch with Building the Engine of Community Development in Detroit on the website and Facebook page. And all of that information is in the chat. Listen, I want to thank everyone from the last 2 days who participated as a panelist and as an organizer of a breakout session. The success of this could not have happened without you. So we want to thank you for your time and we want to thank you for your participation. I want to thank the Summit Planning Committee, the Building the Engine Steering Committee, and the Building the Engine staff and funders. We want you to fill out the survey. So Lauren is going to be posting a survey in the chat. We want you to fill out the survey, right? And if you have other closing comments that you want to put on record, because the record will be published, you can put some more closing comments in the chat. And I am going to officially close day 2 and finish this summit and turn it over to Maggie DeSantis, the initiative manager for Building the Engine of Community Development in Detroit. Maggie?
Thank you, Orlando. I have the best job in the world, which is to ask everyone to please give a big round of virtual applause to our 3 hosts, Orlando Bailey, Youssef Bunchy Shakur, and Alondra Alvarez. Yay!
Woo, 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 woo.
Woo, woo, woo. Thank you, 3. Back to you, Orlando.
It's actually on YouTube. Thanks, Maggie.
Oh, back to Youssef. All right.
Bam. It's been great. Just something for you guys to take away and think about. We did have some questions, but just take with yourselves. What type of partnerships can we build out of this? How do we intersect the civic, the social and racial justice, and the youth, and et cetera. I mean, sometimes it's only in these spaces that we see each other and we say, hey, we need to connect, and we don't talk about it until we see each other again in these spaces. And then there's a lot of folks on here who voices may not been heard, that we need to dig deeper. I mean, there's some ground level folks that's really out there struggling and fighting and making some difference. I mean, particularly also who are more sustainable in our organization. I think that's what equity has to look like. This is what this work has to look like. Again, you don't have to be from the neighborhoods, but you got to care about people. And I think this is what the heart of Building the Engine is and should be. And if it's not what we want to be, then join, sign up, get involved. That's what happened. The short story of it is I crashed the party. Now I'm part of the party. So it's a beautiful thing.
I was there when he crashed the party. Listen, survey link is in the chat. That was a time. What a great time. Survey link is in the chat. Please take the survey. Thank you all so much. Please be safe. Wear your mask. Have a great holiday season. You'll receive a gift card from Building the Engine for participating. So thank you, and thank you. We'll see you next time. Don't forget that survey.
Orlando, can I add something before we end?
Sure.
Can we give another round of applause for the young people who presented?
Woo! Woo!
Woo, woo.
I just think that's so amazing because right now they're going through virtual school and there's just so much going on. So thank y'all for showing up.
Nope.
And thank you, Maggie and Lauren and all the team for Building the Engine. This is great. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Stay out of trouble, youngster.
Bye, beautiful people.
Bye.
I see you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Good night. We don't have to stay on, do we?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Thank
So
you.
no debrief today, Maggie?
No debrief. I mean, I'll probably send out something to see if we want to debrief, but no, I think everybody, you all worked really hard.
Alondra, great job.
Orlando, thank you. I feel like I kept messing up, but you kept having my back. I was like, okay, yay.
I got your back.
You did great, Alondra. And Yusuf, if you're still here, I hope you take care of yourself. He is sick. He is not.
He's
I hope
sick.
you feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye, y'all.
All right, then. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Great
Bye.
job,
Good night.
everyone. Thank you.
Great job.
Nice job, Camille. Thank you.
Bye, Maggie. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.